On the desk behind me is an iMac that I bought on eBay for less than $70. Is it any good? This is a mid-2011 21.5-inch iMac that I bought on eBay for just $68. Now the listing said that it was for parts or repair, it didn't come with a cord, it didn't come with a hard drive, and it wouldn't turn on. Upon receiving it, it came with a cord, came with a 1 terabyte hard drive, and it was an upgraded model from what the seller said it was. The seller specified that it was a 2.5 gigahertz dual core Core i5, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and a 500 gig drive, but they also specified that the drive had been removed, so I was a little curious about that. When this model arrived, I discovered it had a quad-core 2.7 gigahertz Core i5, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 1 terabyte hard drive, and it also shipped with a cord. Now, upon further inspection, I determined that the drive was dead. Loud clicking noises could be heard from the drive when it was starting up, and the machine would shut off during the startup sequence. So there was something wrong with it and wouldn't let it load macOS. So I replaced it with a 1 terabyte Seagate Barracuda drive that I know functions because one of the machines working right here. To upgrade the hard drive, I had to first take off the glass, then remove the screen. Then once the 8 Torx screws were removed, I had to remove 4 connectors on the back of the display and take it off. I didn't get a video of this part of it, but this thing was caked in dust. Like the fans were brown. I couldn't see the fans. I ran out of compressed air cleaning this thing. That's how gross it was. But nonetheless, I upgraded the hard drive. It's still a 1 terabyte 7200 RPM drive. And I upgraded the memory afterwards to 8 gigabytes instead of 4. Now, as far as performance goes, it's passable here in 2019. In Geekbench 4, this thing scores 3611 on the single core score and 8902 in multi-core. It is a quad-core processor. Now, before you tell me, I can already hear you guys, but Jake, you can't game in macOS. Just buy a PC. You shouldn't game in macOS. You can, but you shouldn't. But I digress. I played Call of Duty 4 on here because that's so far the only Mac game that I own. Call of Duty 4, 1080p, 60 FPS, highest settings that I could figure out how to get it to run, ran beautifully. No hiccups, no issues, just the only issue that I had personally was with my mouse. Occasionally I would go to right click and it would register as left click, and nothing huge. Now, as far as video editing, this thing handles 1080p 60 FPS, no problem. 1080p 30, no issue. You can probably throw 3, maybe 4 layers on top of that base 1080p footage and it will handle it with no issue. Me, being the person that I am, I redesigned my entire intro and outro on this machine. It brought it to its knees. Rendering 10 or 11 layers of very high quality images on top of 1080p footage, it's doable, but you just shouldn't do it. It is possible though for someone who edits family videos, videos for friends, or like I said, very, very basic 1080p handles it like a champ. Now, as you would probably imagine, web browsing, YouTube playback, all of that stuff, no issue here. It is still a rather competent machine, even though it only goes up to 10.13.6 High Sierra. So now I guess we come back to the price. As I mentioned, this was purchased off of eBay for $68 shipped. I know I should have bid $1 more, but for $68, I got a pretty much fully functional mid-2011 iMac, which, although no longer supported and slightly outdated, is completely serviceable and usable for mostly everything that I would do on it. It handles Photoshop, no problem. Final Cut Pro, no problem. Web browsing, YouTube, no problem. Now, should you buy one? If you're set on buying a Mac for a cheap price and you can find this for cheap, go for it. If you're learning to do Photoshop or learning how to edit video or just buying a new cheap family computer, this will do it and more for very small amount of money. These things usually go for $250, $300 on eBay. I got really lucky with this one. So if you have the money laying around and you, like I said, really want a Mac, not a bad choice. So guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me about your cheap Mac stories if you have any, and I'll see you guys in the next video.